On today's episode of What Did We Get Fixed on the RV, you can kind of see down there, there is a valve on that black pipe right above the red PEX line. That valve is the gray tank valve and it has broken. Fortunately, it broke open, so we were able to still function while we waited to get the new valve and have some time to replace it. Unfortunately, it's in that mess of stuff that is a little difficult to get through, and it's right about at the very end of arm's length. So we're going to open up the bottom and go at it from the bottom. Hopefully we can get to it that direction. While we're down there, we're probably going to put some tank heaters on, some elbow heaters, and I need to put a new sensor on my freshwater tank because that is quit working as well. So lots of fun here. This is the best part of full-time RVing and RV ownership, the ability to learn how to do a new thing just about every time you move the RV. So that's what we're doing today. The first part of this job, if you've got a gray tank flush, we're going to go ahead and flush the gray tank a little bit, try to get some of that debris and nasty water out of there so that we don't end up taking a shower in it. You see here, we do have a flush. If you don't have a flush, you can do it with your sink, shower, whatever you want. I raised the passenger side of the trailer to kind of force it to drain a little bit better. And then when I actually go to take it apart and do the work, I'm going to lower the passenger side and raise the driver's side. Hopefully that little bit of a slant will ensure that I don't get too much water on me. So we've got all the water drained. I went ahead and lifted this side of the RV. You may be able to tell if you look a little bit, but probably not. So that the water would be less likely to drain out on me when I get to that valve. I like to carry a tarp with me so that I can put it on the ground when I have to work on the ground, so that I'm not rolling around in all this pine straw and dirt that's here. So put the tarp out. It also helps collect anything that drops so that I can find it later. So now we're going to go ahead and take a look underneath and see what we got to do. So on this trailer, we've got this little drop down box under the valves that the pipes run out and then they go down to the drain over there. I've gone ahead and broken out all the foam insulation there so that I can break this down or drop this down. And then I've got a few bolts that look like they're going to be a pain in the butt to get to because that's the way everything goes. And then I'm going to pull this down. It's glued. I'm going to pull it down, hopefully not damaging it. And then hopefully I can get to the valve from there. If not, I'll have to go over here and start dropping this coroplast, which I've got to do to put the freshwater tank heaters and the freshwater tank sensor on anyway. So that's coming down either way. Alrighty, and as I thought, the valve is right there. I moved the box down the pipe a little bit. I thought about replacing the whole thing, the whole little box there, but I would have to cut the pipe to get it on there or cut the box because there's holes drilled through it. So the next step is going to be to take those 4 bolts out and take the actual gate valve out and then slide the new gate valve in there. Alternatively, you could probably cut this sucker off and then put it in there as well, but I think I'm going to go with the less destructive method, at least at first, and pull those bolts out, slide that gate valve out, and then put the new one in and bolt it in. Hopefully it goes smoothly. I believe the cable is just broken loose here, but I don't see any way to work on it to pull it out. I'm going to look at the new one real quick and see if there's any easy way to reconnect the cable, but we'll see. So this is what the Lasalle 1.5 inch gray tank valve looks like, and this is what's on the DRV. You can see the blade there that closes it, the 4 bolts that holds it all together. It comes set up to where you could actually glue it into the PVC pipe. Like I said, I'm just going to take the bolts out and take it out and replace it. Mine is really loose in here, the one that's broken. I suspect that maybe it broke up here at this screw or somewhere in here, or this cable broke loose in there, because this is all loose on mine and it doesn't open anymore. And it was pretty hard before I broke it. So it was getting some type of resistance in there. The way that DRV installs it is really kind of dumb. It has this pointed away from the handle, where the handle goes. It has this pointed to the center of the RV instead of to where the handle's actually pulling, which I'm going to fix when I put this one in there. But you can see that it opens up, and that's just 2 fingers open it up. So it opens up nicely, closes nicely. So I expect it to obviously remedy my problem. But the other thing is that it should be easier to open and close, whereas the other one takes a pretty good tug on it. And one of those pretty good tugs after sitting still for a long time, where it probably kind of got frozen in place, probably broke this end. But we'll see when we pull it out. I can't see this portion of it on the valve. All I can see is this portion right here. So I'm going to go ahead and disconnect this, pull that out, put this one back in there, and hopefully it'll fix everything. Now before I go back underneath there, I'm going to take this apart so I can pull the whole cable assembly out without having to go back and forth and back and forth. I loosened the nut that's on the back side of this panel so I can pull it out a little ways, and then I can grab it with the vice grips there, and then I can go ahead and try to get that nut off of there. If it doesn't come off, I'll probably spray it down with some penetrating oil, and that should help, but I'm hoping that it comes off just like it is. And you can see we've got the nut off now, no penetrating oil required. Now I can go ahead and finish taking the valve out, pull that line out, put the new one in, put the new cable release up there, and then go ahead and get it finished up. Alrighty, so we've got the valve out. Now we've just got to get the cable the rest of the way out. It got tangled up there, and then put the new valve in. And this is the old valve, and you can see that the screw is still there, but if we look real close right there, you can see that that's cracked. So when I pulled on it, I obviously put too much force on it and cracked that, and then the cable just kind of runs free at that point. So you'd have nothing to restrict and keep this in the right spot to move back and forth. It does move. The valve works, but it's broken loose there. You can see where it was screwed into there, and then that just broke loose. So the sleeve is broken loose and working free, so there's nothing to control the wire going back and forth. Keep in mind when you pull this apart, there are 2 seals on here. You can see we've got a seal there, and I left it on the piece that it goes on. Then we've got a seal here, and then if you look, you've got a lip that those seals go on there. From my previous black tank valve removal on a different trailer, getting these seals in place was the biggest part that was a pain in the ass. So I'm hoping that this is a little bit easier. There's more room to work. The pipes come apart a little bit more, so I'm hoping that makes it a little bit easier, but just keep that in mind. So we've got our gray tank valve in now. I've got the handle on. I was not able to reroute the cable to a better location because of the way the pipes and the frame are situated. You can see that we have no water coming out. I am running water into the gray tank fill right now, and I'm going to take a look underneath it and make sure it's not leaking there either before we go ahead and button everything back up. And this is the bottom of the valve. You can see that it's still going the same direction because that black pipe and the frame is in the way to put it any other direction. I don't see any leak there, so I'm going to go ahead and pull it, make sure it works, and then we'll button this all back up.